Hi, Tom. Hello?
Edgar.
Hi. All right, everybody. Welcome to the March 3rd, 2022 Town Board meeting. We are live streaming and we are recording. We have a quorum. We're ready to start. I would hold on a second here. All right, now we're got rid of the one that we're streaming. And so I'd like to make a motion to open the March 3rd, 2022 New Paltz Town Board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda. You guys, let me make sure.
Second.
Okay, you guys can unmute yourselves, good. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
And I have no announcements. If anyone else has any? If not, we will open the floor for public input. If you would like to make a comment, please raise your Zoom hand. You can go down to the reactions on the bottom and click on that, and then it's just raise your hand. If you're new to Zoom, lucky you. Please try to keep your comments to 3 minutes. So Edgar, you have a question or a comment, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Edgar Rodriguez, resident of New Paltz. I'd like to make some comments about the police commission, how important the police commission is, and your interviewing process and the candidates that you've seen and the candidates that you're going to see. The dilemmas about policing are upon us once again. On Tuesday, I attended a court session and actually met with Sarah, the young woman that was involved in a physical altercation by police that some have characterized as police brutality. Interesting that the folks that came out were from Concerned Parents of New Paltz and also from the New Paltz Coalition for Safety and Wellness in the community. It's interesting that something that we supported, which was the restorative justice that we worked with the county, is being applied in this case. The judge and the Ulster County prosecutor regarding the case with Sarah and the New Paltz Department just made a determination and agreement among all parties, and I assume that the police agreed to it, that they will go through a process of restorative justice. It's interesting because I don't often see cases regarding the police and the civilian before restorative justice, so that will go forward. I'd like to comment that some of us will have access to the tape, and we've heard about the tape, and many of us met with Sarah. There was a contingency of people that came out to support her during the court proceedings, and after there was a community meeting around it. The point that I want to make is that we're back again with the issue of the review of incidents in our town and what happens with it. The police chief indicated that at the last meeting that according to his judgment that the training and the policy were not violated by the 3 police officers. Now we have a court and a prosecutor who are viewing this differently. So that I hope that the choices that you make with the police commission are the best for the community. There is one recommendation that I'm going to make that I believe that no board member who was involved with the Paul Eccles case in the past should serve as a police commission officer in New Paltz, and that I hope that you take that into consideration. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Any other comments? Maggie?
Okay, thank you. I was at the last meeting when you interviewed the commissioners, and I was really happy to see the broad range of applicants. I was particularly pleased with the woman who's a lawyer, has been involved in family and marital court advocacy. So that's going to be, hopefully that she'll be selected and she'll be bring a balance to the board that we've not seen before. I also want to mention that I think it might be good to really have someone who is a commissioner to have some background in data analysis. One of the things that we spend our time is trying to figure out what's happening with traffic stops and some of the cases that come across the police's actions. And we found that it was really helpful to be able to delve into data and to have someone who really is very good at it. And we thought that maybe that would be a recommendation that I'd like to present when you consider the applicants. I don't know how many you have as compared to how many seats are to be filled, but if there's any way somehow a question of that nature could come up, how comfortable people feel with data analysis and delving into that. The other thing is I wanted to hopefully consider that these commissioners will have an opportunity and probably should somehow be recommended that to be people who view the tapes of these, and I'm thinking about incidences that the chief reports on a monthly basis, that he reports on when there has been a use of force, because that taping, one could look at it from one perspective and come up with one idea, and then another person could come up with another perspective. So having that balance where the commissioners themselves can have a look at these tapes to be able to then get an understanding of what has happened. I think that one of the things that is important is that the people who are on the board or the commission are able to really process the information on an ongoing basis. They have to have the time, but they also have the direction. And I think that part of the roles are included in the description of what they have to do. But I think certainly the requirement or the strong recommendation that that whenever there are incidents reports, that they are enabled and allowed and really encouraged to look at tapes and listen to the recordings, because the picture's worth 1,000 words, and even though pictures can be misleading, I think that they also can provide some clarity as to what has happened to corroborate something or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom?
Unmuted. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just, it's unfortunate we weren't able to talk about this before you started interviewing the people, but I think it's important that all the candidates have read the law that they're going to be working under, and B, that they've read and understand and agree with the resolution that the board passed about the mission of the commission, the training requirement, the need to always be aware of the need to combat racism. The resolution you passed is a powerful document, and I would hate for it to get lost in the process. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I was muted. Any other comments? Last call. All right, thank you very much. And so move on to item 1 on the agenda. We're going to continue with the police commission interviews. And Essie, I'll hand it over to you because I have to
Oh, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. So at this time, if there is anyone who wants to be interviewed for the police commission, we're going to have you tell us who you are, a little bit about yourself, and what you think you can bring to the police commission. And I see Steve Ford on here. I know he is interested in being interviewed. So we'll let you go first, Mr. Ford. Thanks for coming. You're on mute. If you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think people are allowed to unmute themselves. Good, go ahead. Thanks.
Okay. Am I the only person today being interviewed?
I am not sure. There may be others,
Okay.
but this was going to be going on for a while.
Okay. My name is Steve Ford. I've been in New Paltz since 1971. I've been a teacher in various schools in New York City and New York State, taught in prisons and schools for incarcerated youth, in New Paltz Campus School, Poughkeepsie. I think my talents that I would bring to this is that I'm a very honest, direct person. I think I have an ability to bring people together. And I think people see me as someone, I believe if I still have a reputation in the town, I think I have a reputation for honesty and straightforwardness, and at the same time, very caring, fair, and concerned. I just think that I could, as a person, I don't know the quote requirements. And I think as a person, I have the personal skills that would be of benefit to a police commission. I feel comfortable with the police department. I'm comfortable with, I know half a dozen, excuse me.
I thought you were going out.
No, it's here on Zoom. By the way, it was my wife. She thought I was going out to be interviewed. She didn't realize I was on Zoom. And she just gave me permission to continue. So I can talk some more. Like I said, I know quite a few officers, detectives. I know the police chief. I'm very comfortable with them. I'm very comfortable with who they are, and I have a lot of respect for them. At the same time, I have a lot of concern about the use of force by the police. And I have always been very concerned about racism in the society, in the schools, in my classroom, and anywhere else. And that's all I have to say. Be happy to answer questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Ford?
I mean, no real question other than, I think, would you be willing to, read the law that we have? We can send it to you.
Yeah, sure, of course.
And, we're going to have some questions that come kind of some standard questions that we're going to ask all the applicants to kind of fill out, just
Okay.
so it's fair that, they've all kind of addressed some of our issues. I don't know if we have, I think we're going to send those to the applicants. Is that right? And so, other than that, in general, the time commitment is pretty straightforward. It's once a month.
Well, I happen to know it's once a month, but it'll never be once a month.
It often, hopefully,
Yeah, that'd be nice. But
it's if you're not meeting much, that means there's not much of an
good.
issue.
It's good.
And so if you have to meet a lot more than that, then, obviously there are things that we need to address. And so, but if issues come up, then you obviously have to address those on a timely manner. So at a minimum, it's once a month. It can often be more than that. And then there's reviewing, preparing for the meetings. It's, like a lot of volunteer positions, and as long as you can, commit to that, because we want to make sure we have a quorum at the meetings. But usually people know that. I just wanted to make sure you're aware. So that's all I have.
I can say that I'm willing to commit to that. Who knows what's going to happen? It might start, something might happen in my life or my family, but I will do, if I take on the job, I'll do the best that I can to meet the commitments of the job.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's all we can expect, and I appreciate
The other
it.
thing I want to mention is that I think it was 3 years ago, I was interviewed for the same police commission. I don't know if you remember, Neil, you and Dan Torres. This was, I guess, when it started, and then COVID hit and everything went out the window.
Yeah, we're finally getting there.
Right. So I've already started the process, I think.
Yeah, so thank you
3 years ago.
for continuing to be involved. And
Well, it's something I care about.
I apologize for the dragging it out so long, but we're getting there.
Okay.
So, anyone else have any comments, questions?
I appreciate your interest, Steve, and there is also training, which you didn't mention. Just
Yeah,
thought
I mean, we're going to have, we want to make sure that, there's going to be, just like on the planning board, to make sure that people are making informed decisions and not just, it's easier for everyone if, especially when, you're on a board, if everyone has some training so that, everyone's ideas have, equal weight, instead of like one person who maybe has more background, they can dominate. And we want to make sure that everyone has a voice in the discussions.
I'm not worried about that, but I'm happy to take the training.
And so there'll be some training involved. I think no more than 20 hours a year, probably much less than that, so.
And I'm assuming that it's at a wonderful resort somewhere, and
Of course, yeah, fully.
Okay.
I mean, the hourly rate that you make as a police commissioner, you'll get paid the same during training.
oh,
So,
okay. Well, I can handle that then.
anyone else?
I'll just add, I look forward to your answers on the written the written question, and I really appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I don't know who was talking.
Oh, it's Julie. That's
Oh,
right.
I'm sorry, couldn't tell who was talking. I didn't understand what you said, Julie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said I look forward to your answers to these written questions that I'm just saying I look forward to reading what you have to say further.
Well, I will try to make it interesting.
Thanks for your interest.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? If not, we'll send you. I think we're still finalizing those the questionnaire, and we'll be sending that out to you soon.
And
And
if
we're
I
gonna
can't
be-
answer them, I can get some help, right?
yeah, it's open book. So.
Yeah, okay, good.
And we're going to be, I think we have a few more people to interview, and before we make any decisions, we haven't really discussed this at a board, but I was hoping we could maybe get an idea of everyone who's interested in interviewing, and then we can start picking people. Is the board okay with that? But at some point we want to move this along, but we want to make sure that we're also using this process to kind of get the word out, so as we interview more people, we're hoping other people see this and say, oh, I could do that too. Not that the applicants that we have aren't qualified, but we want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to be part of this if they want to be.
Well, one of the reasons I was interested is that I kept reading that you didn't have enough applicants. I hope that's changed.
We have some more, but we would like to, I think we're still looking for more people who are interested. So we don't want to close the door before then. Is that safe to say?
Okay.
But,
Great.
you know, I would imagine, it's not going to be another 3 years like last time.
That's comforting to know.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Neil, I had a question about our timeline for, did we finalize how we're adding people to the commission? There was some talk at a meeting maybe even a month or two ago about how we might do that. Did we finalize how we might?
No, I mean, we can talk about that as a board. I was hoping that we at least interviewed a significant number of people before we started filling the slots. You hate to make decisions before you have all the information. I mean,
I have a question.
Yeah,
Will
go
I
ahead.
get something on my card that says police commissioner, so I won't get any tickets I think that would be a perk.
I think they used to give out, the police commission used to get like badges, and I think in Dutchess County, you could even
Ooh.
get a free pass for Metro North, but I think they've done away with all of that.
Okay. Well, I might have to reconsider then.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Thank you for the interview, and I look forward to the packet.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Is anyone else here interested in interviewing? Raise your hand. If not, we'll move on to the Environmental Conservation Board 2021 annual report. And I guess Rich Whitney is here to present the annual report for the ENCB. And I'll hand it over to you, Rich. Should be able to unmute yourself.
There we go.
And
Yeah,
do you need to share the screen or anything? I can make you a co-host.
No, it's just a quick, like 2-page report that we put together. Just kind of reviewing what we did in 2021. Basically, my name's Rich Whitney. I inherited the chair position from Ingrid when she stepped down in April. Just to go through it, I'll just read it rather than summarizing it. Much of the disruption from COVID-19 that occurred in 2020 remained during 2021. Our meetings were held remotely via Zoom, with the exceptions of August, September, and October, when hybrid meetings were conducted with only a few members attending in person. As far as project reviews, the ENCB reviewed all submissions by the planning board and provided written comments when warranted. 3 of those projects were the subdivision for 192 Mountain Rest Road, the Trans Hudson project, which obviously has been ongoing, and the subdivision for 525 Albany Post Road, which has since been removed. We also send liaisons to the bi-monthly planning board meetings as needed, pretty much every meeting we attend. The ENCB conducted 2 site visits last year, one for Homeland Towers on Jansen Road and the other for the 525 Albany Post Road. As you know, the ENCB is in charge of the New Paltz Town Tree Law. There were 3 tree permits that were requested in 2021. 100 Plains Road, which we approved with a recommendation to replant native trees. 51 Old Route 299, we approved, no comments. And then 293 Plutarch Road, we also approved with a recommendation to replant native trees in the places that were applicable. Environmental policy research, thanks to the town board, this is a little past dated, but critical environmental areas were presented to the town board at the time. At the time of I wrote this, which was in January, there were 2 areas up for consideration. Obviously, last month, you guys designated the Schwangunk Ridge as New Paltz's first CEA, which we're very, very happy that you guys did that. And Ingrid was, very instrumental, and she led that charge for a very long time. So I thank the town board for doing that. We're putting together, or last year we started putting together a wetlands and water course brochure to advise New Paltz on public laws and how to treat wetlands. The National Resource Inventory that Amanda Gatto was very instrumental in bringing to New Paltz. We conducted and participated in a lot of volunteer hours working on that project. And not really pertinent, but representation on other committees. Jim Littlefoot, who's a longtime member of the ENCB, he has believe he resigned this year. He represented the town board, the ENCB on the Ulster County Environmental Management Council. We've yet to reappoint somebody to that position. We're kind of doing it on a rotating basis moving forward. Ted Nitze chairs the Village Environmental Policy Board. Ted Nitze and Janelle Preorter worked on the ad hoc committee for the solar project on the town landfill. Janelle is the climate smart coordinator for town and village of New Paltz, as well as a member of the New Paltz Bike Ped Committee, and a board member of the Climate Action Committee and chair of the New Paltz Climate Smart Task Force. So that's our annual report. We voted on it last meeting we had, so which is why it's been presented a couple months late, but that's what we have so far, or for the last year, I should say.
Well, I appreciate all of the work that you guys do as a committee. I think that the NRI is huge. I think it's going to have a big impact, not just on the planning board, but for people that like maps. I mean, it's just kind of fun to go and kind of look at what's in different places, and I think it'll help with decision making. And so, thanks for doing that, and thanks for doing the CEAs. I was up at Mohonk today talking to the president, and they appreciate it too. So thank you.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah, the NRI, the National Resource Inventory, is pretty cool. It should help everybody just get to know their town a little better. And anybody looking to do anything can really see what's on their property and what issues they might run into if they want to, or what's going to be beneficial for everybody. So.
Yeah, and I guess the county is doing one now, right? And they're going to be integrating all of the different towns. So, I think we're going to get an even better picture of, not just each individual town, but so thanks for doing that.
That's going to make for great connectivity. Thank you very much, Rich, for the work you do and that the commission does. And I look forward to talking about the reconstitution. I think, is that what we'll do next, Neil?
That's next, yep.
Sounds like put them in a blender.
Yeah, and so I don't know, if you want, we can move on to the next one. This the ENCB has asked the town board to basically change the number of members required for quorum. So if you guys remember, we did this for the CWASP a couple of years ago, but that was a little more complicated. That involved passing a law. We ran it by the town's attorney. What we need to do is really just pass this resolution that it's on the town's website. And it's really what we're doing is we're saying, when the actual terms start and stop. And so there's a lot of flexibility. If someone wants to join if the numbers increase on the ENCB, we can just pass this resolution and we can increase the size. But right now we can shrink it a little bit because we have fewer people on it for lots of reasons, right? COVID, everyone's busy. But this means that they can still have quorum instead of not having quorum, so they can still continue to work and get things done and vote. Otherwise, if we don't have enough, I think the original law was 7 to 9 people, and that means you had to have at least 4, I think, or 5 there each time. 5 there each time, yeah. And so hopefully I explained it well enough, but it just reduces the membership to 7 and sets terms for the current members. We've posted it on the website. Any discussion?
I think it makes a lot of sense, especially as Rich pointed out, there were 3 times this year that you didn't have quorum, and we're just having difficulty finding volunteers. That 9 is a large number. I certainly support it, yeah.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to pass the resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any opposed? Just make it easier for the clerk. I don't think anyone's opposed to these things, but we'll just keep making sure. So motion passes, all in favor. And thank you for coming and presenting the report, Rich.
Well, thank you guys, and thanks for helping out with the membership size. It's be easier to have quorum now, I mean, especially with 6 members. So much appreciated from the whole board, and we're continue working on recruiting new people too. So thank you.
All right, thank you. So number 4 is I'd like to make a motion to approve and authorize items 4A through 4E on the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right. Great. And the number 5 is the local law to, we talked about this. This is a local law to amend the code of the town of New Paltz to add a new chapter 10, electric assist bicycles, to the code of the town of New Paltz. I forget all, I kind of worked up all the numbers, but just to give everyone a kind of a brief background, I talked about this once before. The state has passed a law in, was it 2020 maybe, as part of the budget process to allow electric assist bicycles. The law limits electric assist bicycles to roads where the speed limit is 30 miles an hour or less, unless towns pass a law saying that electric assist bicycles are allowed anywhere regular bicycles are allowed. So that means they're allowed to ride up and down Main Street. They're not allowed on sidewalks because bicycles are not allowed on sidewalks. They're not allowed on the thruway because bicycles are not allowed on the thruway, but they're allowed where bicycles are allowed. And so the idea behind this is to get people out of their cars and on bicycles or walking. And this, someone wrote me an email and said, well, I'd like to buy an electric assist bicycle, but technically they're not allowed. And even though the town's not enforcing it, I think there are people, like even myself, I would like one, but I'd be nervous about buying one. Because you don't know what the town's going to do. And so this just kind of sets it, in law that we are allowing them, even though there are many that are already out there now. I see them all over the place. And so that's it. It's a pretty simple, straightforward law. We're copying the city of, I forget where I got it from, New Rochelle. And so our attorney has looked over everything and that's it. And so this is a resolution to designate the town board lead agency to review the environmental impacts of the proposed changes and to add a new chapter 10 electric assist bicycles to the code of the town of New Paltz. It's been posted on the website, and I'd like to make a motion to pass the resolution.
I'll second happily.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then set a motion to set a public hearing for March 17th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the next is number 6. This is the Phoenix has asked if for permission to install emergency Narcan kit distribution boxes co-located with the town's AEDs at the town court, the town hall, the New Paltz Police Department, dispatch, the community center, the highway department. And I just said I'd run this by the board. Shouldn't be an issue. This is becoming more and more common that we have those Narcan kits available wherever there are AEDs. The more available they are, the more likely they are to save someone's life. So I just thought we would discuss it as a board because it also helps get the word out there. So
I think it's a great idea. I'm totally behind it.
Me too.
I agree.
all right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. And let's see, that is number 7. We're going to talk about that next meeting. I took it off. So now we have a discussion about, Chris sent an email around about some work on some highways, and B&G plowing at the community center. I don't know if Chris is here. If you want to join us, or if we just want to talk about it as a board, it's up to you. I don't know if Chris has anything he wants to say about it or not. You go ahead, Chris. I can unmute you, or we can, if people have questions. I mean, I can trying to unmute there. Do any other board members have anything they want to say? I mean, I have some notes I put together. I don't know if you want to say anything first, Chris, or, you know, I have a few thoughts, but.
Well, you talking about the parking issue, or are we talking about?
Well, I guess we
road
could
issue?
start. Why don't we could start with the parking? You know, so I met with the head of the condo association at Village Arms, and you know, I guess explained to me that, you know, historically, you know, they gave us an easement to put the sewer, you know, onto their property, and they, you know, we've had this kind of unofficial agreement with them for a long time that when they have to plow their lot, people can move their cars over to our lot for a little while, and then they kind of move back. They don't stay there. It's never really been written down. You know, they have a new person who's doing the plowing. You know, there's been some mix-up over the last few times. You know, I kind of met with him. I said, you know, I think that it's, you know, shouldn't be too hard to solve. You know, we may have 1 or 2 more storms this year, but we can probably write down some sort of protocol and procedure so, you know, everyone knows, and it's not just, you know, because there are new people who work for the town, there are new people that work for Village Arms, there are new people that move into Village Arms. So it's probably best for all of us if we have a written protocol that so you don't get held up and that they don't get messed up. And that way, and if there are problems, if people don't know or they don't understand, there's a number they can call and we can straighten things out. And so I said, you know, I thought that might be worth, you know, maybe I don't know if we need to do it. We may have another 1 or 2 more storms, but hopefully we can work things out. But, you know, I like the idea of getting things in writing. I'm not a big fan of, well, we've always done it this way or that way. And it's, we had this deal, because things change a lot and then people get angry or confused. And so I just wanted to, you know, talk to you, and, you know, we'll see what the board thinks about working on, you know, working something out over the, you know, next couple of months before the next winter. If it was October, we'd be in a lot more of a rush.
Yeah, as long as it gets worked out before, you know, the next winter course,
Yeah.
I think you're fine. It's been getting progressively worse. Actually, I had to have the last plow driver, another storm, block the road so people wouldn't come in, and he was heckled, he was yelled at. It almost became physical at one point. And, you know, this is like, look, this is our parking lot. All you got to do is give me a little bit of time to clear it, so you have a clean place to park. I'm not even going to be upset about you cleaning off your cars, so I have to come back and clean the parking lot again. Just give us a little time to do our job.
Yeah, so I think we just need to, like, you know, get it in, like, get an understanding, get everyone sitting down, and say, okay, well, you need this amount of time. They shouldn't be here before this time, or they shouldn't be here during this time. But I said, I didn't think this isn't, you know, shouldn't be too hard to figure out. And everyone, you know, at least me, I'm always happy when I can just refer to, like, a written document to say, this is what I'm supposed to do. Oh, what do you mean? I can't park there overnight because, you know, like or they could, you know, whatever we have. But you know, I like stuff written down. So when I met with them the other day, I said, yeah, well, don't worry. We're not going to, you know, we're not going to ban it. We have to have some rules, and we need to have rules that work for both both sides. But, you know,
I mean,
obviously,
it's worked for quite a few, many years, you know, the way it is. It just,
Yeah,
you know,
and
and I understand new people come in. You know, it's just, it's the danger too of us hitting things, you know, cars
Yeah.
are moving in and, you know, you don't want to do damage to anyone's car or our vehicles. So, yeah, I mean, if we can come up with something, I told that a gentleman from the board, look, when you can see Mohawk's Tower, the storm's over. That's what we've used ever since I've been in New Paltz, to know the storm's over. And then when you see the parking lot plowed, you're good to go. You know, we probably won't be back unless we have to put some sand on it. And it seemed pretty easy to me, but I don't know,
Yeah.
this year's been a struggle.
yeah, I mean, I think there's a new person and, you know, but I mean, my preference is like, we write it all down, and then it's also, I think, easier for the residents too, because, you know, people move in and out of places, and, you know, it's easier for them if like they're new there and they can just look something up and say, oh, I'm not supposed to park there before I can see the
I do
tower
believe
or
it has to
something.
be posted to be fair, you know, to the people there, because, you know, people don't always listen to directions they get. And at least if there's a sign, maybe somebody read it on the way in and go, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. You know, but it's
Yeah.
not the end of the world. I mean, if we have to plow around it, but if you've been in there lately, you'll see
Yeah, I
frozen
mean, I think
windrows
those, a
everywhere.
lot of those are the workers. I talked to the person from Village Arms, and he said a lot of those cars are not residents. You know, maybe the people that are working across the street at the the building that's not there.
Rycor.
Right,
Yeah, the air
Rycor, or
conditioning place.
well, they're doing all the demo work there across the street now.
Mhm.
Well, they are. It looks like they're done now. So
They usually just park at the lower, well, either way. I mean, you know, just a few cars in the parking lot isn't going to bother anybody. The last storm, it was completely the whole parking lot. And they got so bad they couldn't even get out because they were all blocking themselves in, and we were blocked in. So, you know, it just, I'm sure it can be worked on.
yeah, we'll
Or we
write.
can come to an understanding.
Neil, I
write-
like the idea of there being a protocol. I think, you know, having a protocol is definitely the way to go, because then everybody knows what to reference. I think that's you know, hit the nail on the head on that one. If everybody knows what's supposed to be done, they follow it. And maybe there's a sign or two that makes it clear to everybody who comes in and out. I think that kind of solves the problem. So I'm
Yeah.
very much behind that.
I think we just, you know, we need to come up with, you know, we can talk to Chris, you know, what works for you, right? And, you know, we can say, you know, and then we can come up with something. But, you know, luckily it's March and not October, and we have some time to work on this. But, you know, if I were a person and I was moving in there, I would rather have something in writing, because that's what I trust, instead of just, oh, my neighbor said this is when you're supposed to park and you can park there, and, you know.
No, it makes sense. Makes absolute sense.
So, yeah, we'll do that. So like that, I think that's a pretty straightforward one. And, you know, hopefully, you know, we can maybe, if we have another storm or two, you know, hopefully we don't, but, you know, he told them that, you know, we'll have them call you, the garage or something, and make sure it's okay before they put their cones out to move people over, if that's helpful.
Yeah, and I mean, that's easy too. I'm always out in the storm. So if they call and say, can we go over? I'll know if it's done or not.
Okay, we'll do that for the, if we get some more storms between now and we
hope
have this
not.
thing written. I'm hoping not as well. I'm kind of done. I mean, the other thing is, you know, we, you know, I don't want to make a, you know, so we got the email from you. You know, a little surprised, you know, we got the 284 report. Normally, you know, I kind of went back and looked at the reports, you know, so anyone who's not familiar with this 284 report, before money can be spent on roads, repairs, materials, the highway superintendent, you know, has to get permission and write this report and give it to the town board. We have to sign it. He has to sign it, or she has to sign it, and then it goes to the county highway superintendent. So normally that's pretty detailed. This year it was kind of more general. Just said, you know, we're going to do work on, you know, like what did it say? General repairs, primary work and general repairs. But then, you know, we got an email, after we did the report that was much more detailed and a much larger number, and I just wanted to, talk a little bit about it. And then you mentioned, that, some of the roads, Pine Road in particular, the possibility of closing Pine Road. And I just thought, it's like we probably can't close Pine Road. It's a very popular road. I'm not even sure we're allowed to close roads. There are some people that live on that road. I don't think it would go well. And then, but I wanted to ask you, the idea was, well, could we de-pave that road? Would it make sense to just remove the pavement and not have pavement on that road anymore and make it more like, Lenape Lane? That one seems to hold up really well. And then we could have a dirt road there, but, does it actually save money to have a dirt road? And, do we have the equipment to do that? And if not, when I went out there, it looks like it's about the first 600 feet of Pine Road that's in kind of rough shape, just from Butterville to, where the first stream crossing is. And, when I thought about it some more, I think it's probably pretty good that it's in rough shape. It's not like it's Butterville and people are going 55 miles an hour and they're going to like crash when they hit a pothole. They're turning onto Pine Road and then they have to go really slow, which is safer for everyone who's walking and riding their bikes on Pine Road. So in some ways, I'm like, well, maybe we don't even want to fix Pine Road. We want to keep that. That's kind of like an unofficial, traffic calming device. So I just thought it'd be worth having a discussion, and then if we really have to, I think without closing the road, I'm sure we can find like $11,000 in there in somewhere in the budget, but I don't think it's, we certainly cannot close Pine Road. It's, I probably, would not go over well with many people.
Well, if you want, I can explain the 284 on why it was not so detailed. If on the top of every 284 form that I've ever produced, it's the general money left over after we've picked our roads that we were going to repair or repave for the season. My thought this year was, well, the escalation we're looking at 15 to 20% over top of what we're paying for blacktop now. Our CHIPS funds are no higher than they were last year. They're actually lower.
I think that still might be changing. I think we've been told as supervisors that the chips are going to go up, but we'll see. But it's
I can only do what the information I had when I created.
We can't count on anything until it happens, but you're right.
Right. So my idea was to bank the CHIPS funds. And because the roads we have to do are very expensive. They're longer roads now. They're not $50,000 roads. They're $200,000 roads. With the highway budget cut so much, we have to save up the CHIPS funds, which is allowed. And then I figured, by then, a year, 2 years, 3 years of saving the money and just doing the bare minimum on patching, we're not wasting our money. We're getting more bang for our buck instead of paying, a ton of blacktop costing $100 or $500. Maybe we'll go back to $100. This is not the year to be doing, unfortunately, a lot of work because of all the craziness going on.
Yeah,
that was my.
Chris, if you don't mind me asking, and honestly, maybe I missed it, but was that information that we had when we were formulating our budget?
The what?
We were talking about some of these cost discrepancies and why there's the rationale in your mind to close Pine Road. Some of those issues that you've just referenced now, was that info that you had when we were formulating the town budget?
No, I put back in my town budget a higher rank of money to be paving, but that was taken out.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about that a little bit. I do appreciate the. I hadn't realized like that was the rationale was to, kind of put things off until the prices come back down. I think that makes a lot of sense. I didn't get that from the email you sent. So I agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I kind of went back and just looked at the budget for the last couple of years. So between 2016 and 2021, you requested between 30,000 and 150,000 each year. An average amount was 112,000. We sometimes met what you asked for. Most of the time we didn't. We almost never gave you everything you asked for. So yes, you're right. Usually, but if you add it all up, the over 16 to 21 compared to what you asked for and what we budgeted, it was about a $200,000 difference. On average, let's say on average over 16 to 21, we budgeted $80,000 a year, about 71% of what you requested on average. Last year, you asked for $275,000, which was well above anything that had ever been asked for or budgeted. The max before that had been 130. Since we were already increasing your budget by $200,000 from 21 to 22 to buy the truck that you had asked for, we couldn't put more than $75,000 in, but $75,000 was about on average what we've been putting in. I thought that would be kind of enough because it's not that different than the $80,000 on average that we've been budgeting every single year. But I do agree that I think we have some costs that are coming up in the future, and maybe putting some of this money away and building up a kind of a nest egg to kind of address them in a couple of years, I think makes a lot of sense. And I appreciate you're looking at it that way and not just spending the money now to get it done. So I hadn't caught that detail in the email. And so I'm glad you were able to tell us that tonight.
Well, the email that I sent was pretty much, and this is totally my fault. I usually don't do a monthly report because it's just, we're doing the same thing. I filled a pothole, I cut a tree. I believe we finally reached a tipping point where we're in extreme trouble. My trouble with the budget started in 2017 to 2018 when the budget was cut $248,000. So, you're right. We've added money since then, but I'm still not even close. And I don't mean budget as a whole. When I say budget and I sent the report, this is only the 5110.4 line, roads and repairs. That's where all of our blacktop and maintenance comes from. That line was cut $240 in between 17 and 18. We're at 2022, and we are still not where we were in 2017 for roads and repairs. And all we've had is escalation, in costs. So that's, I used to be able to pave with a $400,000 budget if I put chips in and the budgeting price. Now chips is 118, EWR is, it kind of varies. Early winter recovery is 21,000 and paved New York was 27,000. Even with what has been added, I'm still way below what I was in 2017. So, we build up slow, and been to the department head meetings, we talk about budgets and money, and, no fault of anyone. No one wants to pay more taxes, but the money just doesn't come back. It took such a bad hit that year, and we're still so far behind the 8 ball. So we've gotten creative on how we did stuff. I've been working with Chuck Reed a little bit, talking about Pine Road. We have a bunch of free material that we acquired. It's still a discussion on how we're going to fix it, but it shouldn't have to, it's only going to have to be closed when we redo it. But we ought to be able to redo the base work for free, because of material we've gotten for free, millings and stuff that was taken off the rail trail. But as far as our other roads, right now, I'm looking at just under $1 million if I had to seal up all the roads that fell apart this winter. And I've got we have $147,000 in the roads and repair budget in that line, 5110.4. That's not going to even help me patch. It's going to be a very rough year. Plus, I'm down now $500,000 in trucks. So when that money was taken out, it was, I guess it was an understanding that eventually we'll just add a little. It's been 4 years. We're still way below where we used to be, and especially this year. This was a rough year on everyone's roads, not just New Paltz's. And unfortunately, it was the larger roads that fell apart. If it was a little guy, we could fix that. It's not a big deal. When you have to do a mile, that's a lot of money. Now we could patch that mile. I could spend that $100,000 and put a patch on it, and then next winter we'll just plow it right off. So I'm really at a point where for the first time in my career, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. There's just no. Do you throw money at it, what little money we have, and waste it? Do you? And I wasn't making a joke when I put in my monthly report, passing a law going back to dirt roads.
Well, that's why I brought up the deep paving. I don't think it makes sense for all of the roads, but I thought it might make sense for Pine Road.
And even that, honestly, is not it's really not an option. I mean, it's a law in town. The roads have to be paved. We could get around that. Two, dirt roads in this climate require twice as much work and a specific piece of equipment to keep open.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering, if we had the right equipment, and if we don't, then obviously
we used to have a road grader, and that's what you need. And you send somebody out with a couple ton of item 4 every few months, and you grade it off and you roll it off. We don't have that anymore. We haven't had a road grader in years and years and years, long before I came back. But I've looked at grants. I've requested, looking at grants.
Well, so I think I'm a little optimistic. I'm hoping with the, the new infrastructure bill that there is more money for roads this year. And I think, so what my kind of response, and I thought we'd talk about it tonight, is that, hopefully there'll be more money that's coming down from the federal budget for infrastructure, for roads and bridges. I know they're increasing the amount that's coming to New York State, that, we should be getting more in CHIPS. And so hopefully we'll know that this year. And if not, then, I think this input, I think we can make a more concerted effort to make sure that we move ahead a little bit every year and don't fall further behind every year towards getting back to what you need in an annual budget to be sustainable, to take care of the roads. It had never really been presented in kind of this way before. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I've been talking with Gene, we've talked about a Hail Mary Act, what would a bond be for $2 million? Then $2 million, we replace the equipment and you pave every large road we have. And after you get the list done that I submitted, we're actually in really good shape. New Paltz has some pretty good roads. Then we go into a maintenance program, which I sent that sustainability report around to everybody from an engineer. And it actually, it puts that scenario in there. This is how much it's going to cost to rebuild your roads if you don't do anything. This is how much it'll cost to rebuild your roads in so many years if you do the bare minimum. And it gets technical with reclaiming, and it actually lists every road in the town of New Paltz. Now, this is an older report, but it's still very valid. We've all heard it, pay me now, pay me later. And that's just one scenario, because she wasn't too happy about the debt bond, all that. And I just, I can't express how frustrated I am, and it's not at the board, it's not at anyone, it's just the first time I feel like I'm spinning my wheels and I can't, no matter what I do, I'm wasting people's money. You know,
I mean,
I'm just going, I'm spiraling downhill. My trucks are falling apart. If you authorize me to buy a truck right now that we don't have the money for, it won't be here for 2 years.
well, yeah, I know. I mean, the thing is, we budgeted
Isn't your fault.
$200,000 this year to buy a truck. And like you said, it's like that truck's not going to be here for a couple of years, right?
And it's
Um,
going up. You know,
And so like, well, maybe we should maybe wait to buy that truck, and just like we are with the paving, right? So trucks are going up. You know I looked at kind of what we've spent. We've spent, $1.2 million on trucks since 2016. So it's not like we haven't spent anything. But we've kind of been putting a lot of money into trucks and not the roads. We've spent more on trucks than we have on paving since 2016. And so,
Neil, have we ever, sorry to interrupt, but have we considered looking for grants? Is that something that has ever been an option to try to help with infrastructure in New Paltz?
I don't know of any grants for stuff like the paving
this,
and
no.
trucks and stuff like that.
I've contacted a grant writer. I apologize. I didn't write his name down. He's actually the grant writer for the village.
Yeah,
Gene
he's very
had
good.
Looked in some grants, and he very, very nice person, very smart. And he's like, if you don't have a 75 or greater % chance of getting the grant, it's not worth paying me to write it. So unfortunately, and we were stretching a lot of the grants to see if, can we be considered, we'll do a project and maybe we can roll equipment into it. And there just hasn't been anything, unless you
Yeah.
want to put sewers in everywhere, or, water mains on every road.
That's pretty much it, right? But I'm hoping with this, with the infrastructure bill, that there will be some grants that are coming down. I've been looking at them, reading the documents that, from the Federal Highway Administration, and trying to figure out where they are. I can also talk to the grant writer from the village. We've worked together on stuff in the past. But I think, yes, we can look for the grants. We can look for the federal highway money. But, I also think that we can sit down and kind of lay out what the cost is going to be for, like, using that email, Chris, and then saying, okay, well, how do we, if we have, these things have to get done over, over the next 5 years, 10 years, probably less, right? These roads, like $850,000 that you laid out, probably have to get done. All of those roads have to get done within the next 10 years, if not sooner.
Well, I mean, just, we're out today trying to rebuild one of the roads. Part of Plutarch, the very end from the town line to Van Ostern Road. That's $203,000, and that can't wait. In another year, there won't be a road there. It's literally delaminating and coming apart. And we're digging up large patches. There's only so much free material I have to put in it. So, again, it's not the end of the world. We'll patch it up. We'll put, road condition signs out, poor road or dangerous road, or, whatever we come up with, and do the best we can. Like I said, it was a rough winter, with the heaving, warm, cold, rain. It would have been nice if it just went down to 10 degrees below zero and stayed that way, and then warmed up, when it's supposed to. But that's just not working for us anymore. Roads I thought which were in fairly good shape just blew right apart.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear that you're working with Chuck at Mohawk, and that the reference to closing the road was just during the maintenance and not permanent. I did not get that from the email, so I appreciate that.
Well, you can't, by law, we can't close it. There's.
Yeah,
we
that's what I
can't-
thought, and that's why I was a little surprised when it, when I read the email. And so, yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I think if anyone else has any other questions or comments, but this is certainly seems like something we probably need to start addressing. I appreciate your bringing it to us, Chris. Chuck, go ahead. You have a comment. Chuck,
The only quick comment I just want to add, you've sort of referenced way Lenape Lane is. But the way that Lenape Lane stays stable is we do restrict a lot of access to that lane. It's gated at the top end of it. On that road in that area, if you turn it into a gravel component, you do see a significant amount of residents go back and access that area up to that Pine Road. And that will probably be, knowing our gravel lots and knowing our gravel roads, that's going to be a lot of heavy wear and tear on constantly maintaining that section.
No, thanks. Anything else? If not, we have right now, so we're remote. The governor's executive order allowing us to be remote right now, it only goes until March 16th. Our next meeting is March 17th. And so I have no idea whether or not it'll be extended or not. We're going to try to plan for both, and that way we're flexible. But I think if anyone can't make, then we're probably going to notice it both ways, and that way, if I don't think that they're probably going to sue us if we do a mix of hybrid and if some members of the board are also remote on Zoom. But I think we'll be fine. At some point, we're going to have to make a collective decision. But I thought at least I would try to be in person. But if anyone can't make it in person, I think that's more than fine. And we'll have a mix of hybrid and in person for us as board members if people are okay with that. Is that okay with everyone? And if anyone wants to come, they can come, but we'll have both.
That sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me too. I will not be able to be in person at the next meeting. I will be out of town, but after that, I am happy to go back to being in person and would love it, actually.
Yeah, and so we'll see how it goes, right? The numbers are looking better. Be nice to sit in a room and, get yelled at. So if that's all I have, really. Motion to adjourn.
Actually, Neil, and sorry, I meant to ask you before. Can we go to executive session quickly just to discuss personnel?
Sure. Yeah. I'll have to do let's see, I'll do this here. A second. Yeah, motion to go to executive session to discuss personnel.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Yeah, let's see. Add a room. Usually I practice this beforehand. 1, 2, Okay. Make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second?
No action is being taken. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye.